What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends Avengers Infinity War Cull Obsidian Build-A-Figure Wave Thor. And before we get too deep into this, I just want to apologize for my voice kind of sounding crappy. I'm getting over a little cold or whatever, but it is what it is. I just got this figure and I was really excited to talk about it, so I didn't want to wait. So let's get right into it, starting with the packaging. It's a typical Marvel Legends packaging. You're able to see Thor, you can see the Build-A-Figure piece, you can see Stormbreaker. It all looks very cool, and then there's like the Avengers logo in the background with kind of like the yellow effect. That all looks really nice. It really reminds me of the movie. And then on the side here, you get some Chris Hemsworth inspired artwork. It doesn't look like it's a straight up photo of him, but it looks like it's some artwork inspired by his likeness, and that's cool. And then on the back here, you get a look at the figure itself, and then you get a look at all the other characters it takes to build Cull Obsidian. And this is a really cool looking Build-A-Figure. I can't wait to find all these guys and put him together because he looks really awesome. And this whole wave looks pretty good. The only one I'm not interested in really is Malekith, and that's only because I have the Comic-Con version. So it is very cool that they released another version so other people could buy it and all that good stuff, but just for me personally, I don't care to have him. Can't wait to find Black Knight though, and all the other ones look really cool too, so can't wait to pick up the whole wave. And as always, I'm a big fan of the Hasbro packaging. It's collector friendly, all that cool stuff. You can take it out, put it back in, display it however you want, and yeah, it's good stuff. So let's get into the figure itself. And here's Thor out of the packaging, and as usual, let's start off with the articulation. His head is on a ball joint, so it's able to move side to side, and it's got a little bit of tilt to it. You could get it to go back to about there, so he looks up a really nice amount, and then he could look down, which is good because he's a pretty tall figure. And then for the torso joint, that's where they kind of switch things up a little bit. It's not completely new, but it's not something that they do often. They usually have like the typical torso ab crunch, but in this case it's one of these Marvel Select type of joints, and they've used it before on some Hulk figures. They had it like on the Groot Build-A-Figure, and even the Thor from the first Avengers movie had the same, like a similar torso joint. But I really like this thing. It could tilt side to side, you could twist, and it just kind of rotates around. It's really cool. But the only thing is, it doesn't crunch forward very much. It only crunches forward to about there. It's not horrible, but it's not wonderful either. And then it leans back to about there, and at that point the cape is kind of getting in the way. But I wonder if it could probably be modified to get some more movement out of it, just, you know, like the Marvel Select figures. So we'll see if I could maybe pop that open and see what we could do. And then he has no waist swivel because you get your swivel from up here, so that's okay. And then his arms are on ball jointed shoulders, so they go all the way around. And then he has, they could come out to the side, obviously. Then he has the upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. He has a swivel at the wrist and a hinge at the wrist. Then for his legs, they could come out to the side. They could almost do the splits, but not quite. And he could kick forward to about there. They could only come back to about there, and then they kind of go out to the side. Then he has the upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees, no kind of swivel or anything at the foot, but he does have the ankle rockers that everybody loves, and of course his feet can go pretty much all the way down. Check that out, that's pretty good. And then they could come all the way to the top. I'm kind of worried about this peg here, but I'm just going to be careful with it. But yeah, there we go. Those could go up to about there, so pretty good. I like all the articulation here on Thor, and yeah, this torso joint is pretty dope, so I like the way that all turned out. And for his accessories, he comes with the Cull Obsidian left arm for the Build-A-Figure, and this looks really nice. I really can't wait to build it. It looks like they kind of did the same thing as they did with Sasquatch, where the paint is kind of uneven, and you know, sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't, but you can see it's like green and then black right here. But yeah, this does look really cool, looks sculpted very nice, and that'll be very cool to have the Cull Obsidian. I doubt that we'll see any other company try to make him. I didn't build the Thanos Build-A-Figure, because I just didn't like the way it looked, and you know, the Figure Arts one is coming out, so there's options there. I don't really think there's going to be too many options with Cull Obsidian, so luckily it looks like Hasbro did a really good job with him. And then the other awesome accessory that he comes with is Stormbreaker from the movie. And I love this thing. This thing is awesome. I do wish that there was more details in the handle, but the hammer itself looks amazing. It looks really, really nice. And then it comes with this cool like electric effect that you could kind of wrap around and manipulate. You could put it in different positions and stuff like that if you want. And you can just take it all the way off if you like to. But yeah, I like the Stormbreaker a lot. Check it out. It's really, really cool. It's sculpted really nice. They did kind of drop the ball a little bit on the details, but you know, someone could add a wash to that and you're good to go. But It's not really necessary. It still looks really cool, but check that out. Stormbreaker. That's dope. And Thor is able to hold on to Stormbreaker, thankfully, but it is a little loose in his grip. And if you bring it down to like here, it kind of becomes a little heavy and wobbly. But if he's holding it from the middle, it kind of works okay. But I do wish that the hands gripped onto it a little bit better. But I am happy that he could hold it, so that's very, very cool. Check him out. So even though he does come with the accessories that you would need for a Thor figure, you know, his hammer and some lightning effects. His lightning effects is a bit extra, so that's really cool. I do still wish that he came with extra hands, because when you have him posed holding the Stormbreaker with one hand, you know, you got this awkward gripping hand that's just kind of hanging out. But thankfully, if you have some of the other MCU figures, you have some options. I heard that you're able to fit the Ragnarok Thor's hands into this Thor, but I don't have that one handy, so I'm sorry, because I would have liked to compare the head sculpts and switch the hands and all that cool stuff, but I don't have it, so I apologize for that. But another option you have is the Captain America Infinity War Wave hands. Those fit onto there too. I did have to trim down the peg a little bit, but it doesn't affect the hand really. It still fits into Captain America nice and snug, and it does fit into Thor really good too. So his hands do pop off really easy, as you could see. And then you could just stick the Captain America, trim down Captain America hand right in there. It's a little bit tight, but it does come in and out. And then you have a fist for your Thor figure. And the skin tones don't match exactly, but it's kind of hard to tell, especially when, you know, it's the fist and the hand. If you put them up right next to each other, you could kind of tell. But, you know, you're not really going to do that too much. So if you just have them like that, it's all good. So I am glad that I'm able to do that. And now let's get into some size comparisons, starting off with the Figure Arts Black Panther and the Figure Arts Ant-Man. And then now here we have the Marvel Legends Avengers movie Loki and Marvel Legends Avengers movie Thor. And then now here he is next to the Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man and the Marvel Select Ragnarok Thor. And then now here we have the Marvel Legends Captain America from Infinity War and the Marvel Legends movie Vision. And as for the sculpt and the paintwork, I think they did a really good job. It can look a little plasticky in some areas, but for the most part, the sculpt is really well done. I like all the details that you have here on the torso. There's a lot of nice sculpt work in here, and I like these things here. They really remind me of like classic Thor. But yeah, it looks good. Look, you got like the armored kind of look on the arm here, and it's also a little bit reflective, so that's really cool. And then here on the forearms, you have like these straps, and his forearms kind of look plasticky to me, if you know what I mean. It kind of, you know, looks like a toy. I hate to say that, but obviously it's an action figure toy or whatever. But you know, right here it just kind of looks a little too plastic. I wish that, like, you know, they had some paint details in there that look a lot more realistic. Same thing with the upper legs here. And there is sculpt work here on the knees, but again, not too much paint work. But it does get a little bit better at the boots here, because it's black, but then there's some gold paint work in there to add a little bit of details. But even though I say he looks a little plasticky, it doesn't look horrible or anything like that. It's perfectly fine for a Marvel Legends figure. I'm definitely happy with it. But, you know, somebody like Figure Arts or Mafex obviously could have done way better with what they got going on here. But you know, for Marvel Legends figure that's only going to cost you about $20, $25 or something. Yeah, the amount of detail in this guy is really, really good. So I'm not mad at it at all. They did a really nice job on this guy. So check him out there. And then the cape is pretty soft plastic. It's not rigid or anything at all. It moves around freely. I'm not a big fan of capes, and having this figure does make me want to pick up the 3-pack Thor that comes along with Groot and Rocket. Just to have an awesome Thor figure like this without a cape would be pretty cool. But as far as capes go, this isn't horrible or anything. It is soft, and, you know, it doesn't get in the way of posing too much. So I do like this cape. But yeah, overall, I think all the sculpting and details and all the paintwork on him is pretty good. On mine, I can see a little bit of red on the. I want to say it's like the stitching parts, and maybe that's what they're going for, like a stitching kind of effect. So I'm not 100% sure if it's intentional, but it doesn't look horrible. But I mean, I just wanted to throw it out there that you can see some red inside the grooves there. But yeah, like I said, not a big deal at all. Still a really nice looking figure. Now for the head sculpt, I think that's the point on this figure that's going to cause the most arguments, because a lot of people are saying that this head sculpt is no good, but I personally like it a lot. I think you could definitely see Chris Hemsworth in there. And I mean, I guess you could say it's not perfect, but I mean, it looks really good to me. It looks like they did that whole like 3D face printing thing, and in my opinion, it came out really nice. If anything, I think the beard color could have been a little bit darker, and maybe that would have made it look better, a little bit more movie accurate. But I mean, he looks good, and a lot of people are saying that the Ragnarok Thor head would look better on here, and that might be true, but the only thing you'd miss out on is on this head sculpt, Thor has 2 different color eyes, and if you've seen the movie, then you know why. So that's awesome. That's an awesome detail that they included on this. And but the unfortunate thing is, I have heard that a couple people have said that they received their Thors and the eyes are the same color, and that kind of sucks. You know, that's a bummer. But if you're fortunate enough to get the ones with the different colors, then I think this is, you know, way better than having the Ragnarok head on there. But that's just my opinion. And, you know, like I said, I think they did a really good job on here. You got the scar across the eye, which is movie accurate. And then you have a nice paint wash in the hair. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I could see Chris Hemsworth in there. Let me know what you guys think. I'm really interested to hear what people say, because just like on Facebook groups and everything, people are kind of bashing this head, and I think it's unwarranted because I think it looks good. I'm happy with it. So overall, I like this figure a lot. I think that Hasbro did a really nice job on him. In my opinion, I think that I'm going to probably say that this is my favorite MCU Marvel Legends Thor. The only other one I have is the one from the first Avengers movie, and then I never was compelled to pick up the one from the Amazon 4-pack. I don't know why. I just never got around to getting it. I didn't want to go out of my way to get it. Hopefully one day I could find it for a good price. And then the Ragnarok Thor from Marvel Legends, it was decent, but for some reason when I bought it, I just didn't like it that much. I ended up taking it back. I do wish that I picked it up on clearance when it was, you know, when the 2-pack with him and Valkyrie got down to like $10, but I missed out on that. But, you know, I should have pulled the trigger when I could, but it's okay, because I'm very happy to have this one. I think this one is a lot better. And yeah, you know, overall, I think they did a really good job with the sculpt. The articulation is really good. He's very fun to pose and play with. I think that he looks awesome next to the other MCU figures. I think he looks really good next to even like other lines like Figure Arts MCU figures. So yeah, I think he pretty much, you know, checks all the boxes that I wanted him to. And I know people are going to disagree, but I think the head sculpt looks good. I think, like I said, Chris Hemsworth is in there, and there's some really cool details in there with the 2 different eyes and the scar on the face. So that kind of stuff kind of, you know, took it over the top for me. I do wish that he had more hands. You know, that's kind of dumb to say because that's like an obvious thing. Marvel Legends, like, sometimes they just throw a figure out there with no accessories, and doing something simple like throwing multiple hands in there would take those simple figures like a long way. And I think that Thor here would have benefited a lot from having like an open, you know, dramatic hand and a couple of pairs of fists. But I am happy that I found a solution with the Captain America fist, and I could still throw it on Captain America if I need to. So yeah, like I said, very happy with this figure, very happy to have it. And I think that's it for the review. So thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And thank you very much. Peace.